Damn. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. I mean, first of all, peace and blessings be upon you, the people that don't know what assalamu alaikum means. Okay, you're looking at the Underground Railroad television show. This is a special edition. We usually come on Saturdays at 10:30 p.m. Got Mr. Curtis here. Is my guest. This guy, he has a phenomenal radio show, internet radio show. There's 250,000 people that listen to him every single day, and it's an honor. And he will be on Saturday, this Saturday. Okay, the Saturday show.
I'll be on this Sunday.
Yeah, okay, on Sunday. Okay, and please, brother, you know what? First of all, thank you. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule, because like I said, we got half a million people that listen to you every day.
Well, first of all, assalamu alaikum, my brother. Thank you, and thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure being here.
Okay, you know what? And introduce yourself to the people.
Well, let's see. I give you the edited version. I was a former carpenter. I worked in the construction industry for about 15, 20 years. And after 9/11 happened and the construction business sort of went bust in Chicago, and I was going through some personal matters, the breakup of a marriage, and just lack of self-esteem and everything like that. So I decided, okay, I need to change something. And I always said that you just go out there and do it. So what I did was I took a map of the United States and I tacked it onto the wall. Okay. And got a dart. And wherever that dart landed.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Wherever that dart landed, that's where I wound up. Now, after 3 little times I threw that dart, I wound up in the Atlantic Ocean or the Gulf of Mexico or whatever like that. Aimed high and I wound up in Dallas.
Okay.
Took everything I owned, moved down to Dallas. Was there for about 5 years.
So you saying that a dart
decided my fate. Yes.
Whoever the creator guided it.
Exactly.
So, okay, I got you.
Exactly.
I got you.
So I wound up in Dallas. I wound up working for a construction company out there. Wound up working for the building of the new Dallas Cowboy Stadium.
Okay, Dallas Cowboys, they're not doing so good.
They're not doing so good. but they're getting money with that stadium. So
okay, the owners
they got enough out of me.
You see, the owners are getting paid, and the players are multimillionaires.
Absolutely.
No matter what their record is.
Absolutely. So I wound up calling into the radio station because I got mad at them because they changed the format of the station. I'm a person that listens to talk radio a lot, and they had sports talk radio, and they changed the format. I called them, the station, mad, complaining. And the lady who answered the phone said, well, we just bought the station and we're changing the format. Well, why? Everybody likes the station the way it is. Well, we're changing it to a gospel format. And I'm like, oh, never mind. I like gospel. And the lady on the other end of the phone said, you know what? You have a real nice voice. Have you ever done radio before? I'm like, well, yeah, when I was a teenager in high school.
What high school you go to?
I went to South Shore.
Oh, okay. Oh, you went to South Shore?
Yes, sir. The Mighty Tars.
Okay.
Mighty Tars.
Okay. So, you know what, so when that situation happened, you said, hey, did you happen to say to yourself, since they changed their format, I'll create my own format. Is that what came to your head?
I tell you what happened. She invited me to lunch. She's like, you know what? Let me pay for you some lunch, and we can have a conversation. And we'll talk about radio and see if I can get you on my station. And I'm like, okay. And knowing me that I don't turn down a free meal for anybody, I went and we discussed the ideal of me being on her station. Now she said, now I can't pay you, but you can work it off in selling commercials on the station. That could be your side hustle, but you will be on the air. And I was on the air doing the traffic and weather for KFCD radio in Dallas.
In Dallas. Okay.
And I wound up doing that, and I got more of a positive input than the person who hosted the show. The station manager.
Who was the host of the show?
No, well, I won't do that.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But after the show, the station manager came to say, I need to meet with you all. I said, okay. So she met with everybody, and she met with me last. And we closed the door, and I said, you know what? I know what you're about to do. I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for believing in me and wanting me to do this. It was a great experience. It was a great ride. I said, no, you don't understand. I'm not firing you. I just fired the DJ. I want you to come on as the host of the morning show.
Let's get your ass for.
And plus the money that she gave her to host the morning show, she gave it to me. So now I'm salaried.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, Monday, it's Friday, you got 2 days. Do you think you can get a show together in 2 days and be ready to go on Monday? I said, yeah. Knowing good and well, no, I couldn't do it. But look, I believe that God has a plan for everything and every purpose. So when that opportunity came to me, yes, I studied. I did what I needed to do. And Monday morning,
wow, that's interesting.
it was the Rejoice 990 morning show with D. Curtis Randle, and that was the birth of the D. Curtis Randle show.
And you know what? When we speak of that, did you take any formal training, like go to college to major in communications? Or is it just self-taught?
Well, at South Shore High School, they had a radio and a TV studio in the school. And they had two great teachers, Mr. Mancino and Mr. Bell. They taught radio and TV there at South Shore. So I got the training. I went to Central State. I went to Central State University for a year and worked as an intern for their radio station. And I pretty much learned everything I needed to learn then. But it was like 30 years since the last time I did anything like that.
You know, I like what you say. When you did go to college, the university, said you did not belong to a particular sorority, the Alphas or Omegas, but you said you have nothing but respect for them.
No, I have a ton of respect for them. I really do. And they do a lot in the neighborhood. They do a lot for the community. They do a lot to build up their brotherhood. But at that time, when I graduated from South Shore, I was 16 years old. I was a baby. I mean, all I knew was me, find me. That's all I knew.
That's good. That's the sororities. And, you know, let me let everybody know if the phone line's open. This is a live show, and you can join in on the conversation. And you know what? I would like to ask you, is it glorifying or nerve-wracking or whatever? You said you have 1.5 million people listen to you on your internet radio station every single day. What was the strategy that you wanted to use to get to those numbers, or you might not want to disclose?
No, I wanted my show to be different than any other show they've ever heard on
What station and how do people tune in to you?
Well, right now I'm airing on clubsteppin.com. Clubsteppin.com, that's the station. Plus we're also syndicated on 27 other stations across the country and 10 podcast networks in 3 countries.
So how did you map out the strategy strategically to gather such a large audience? Because I'm gonna use Blog Talk Radio. Sometimes you can be on Blog Talk Radio and it can only be one person or two people listening in. So what was the strategy that you utilized to get such a massive, 250,000 people every single day? What did you?
I wanted everybody to have a conversation about that show. Did you listen to what he did on the show Sunday? What? No, I didn't hear it. And I tell people, say, if you miss it, you're going to miss it, because that's exactly how I wanted it. I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be an extravaganza. I wanted to show people that you can be crazy, you can be silly, you can laugh and joke, but you can still worship God.
I like that. I like that. Sounds something like Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
I think you said you knew Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
You know, you got any stories you want to share about Steve Harvey?
But there's a story I will share, that when I was at KFCD, the sister station had Ricky Smiley. Ricky Smiley was doing his show, and nobody really knew about Ricky Smiley's show. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, now he's the heir apparent to Tom Joyner.
And you worked for Tom Joyner.
I did.
And you know what? How was, Tom Joyner was the fly job. Mm-hmm. And you know what? He had a great persona, a great personality, but actually working for somebody and knowing him on, just seeing him hearing him on the air is two different things. What was it actually like working for Tom Joyner? I believe he's retired now.
He is, and he's doing great out there in Florida. Mm-hmm. But
heard you keep in contact with him too.
Working for Tom, it educated me as to how to be better. I knew I had to step my game up to make sure he shines, and it's a step ladder effect. I shine so Tom can shine, so that the audience that he reaches shine.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, working for Tom Joyner, what was it more like? He was, as employer, was he like authoritative? Did he delegate? What was his, how did he handle people? Because I heard that Steve Harvey can be something else when it comes to delegating tasks.
I never had a bad experience with Tom or his staff. Matter of fact, when Lamont Watts, who runs Club Steppin', gave me the opportunity to be the producer in Chicago and the traffic and weather person for the Tom Joyner Morning Show. That was a great honor, and I knew that, okay, it's go time, and I pretty much knew that, okay, let's do this. Mm-hmm. And I really had my reservations about it, because Lamont had tried to get me for years to leave Urban Broadcast
Tried to steal you away, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
For years he tried to get me, but he came to me with Tom Joyner, and basically he was Vito Corleone. He gave me the offer that I couldn't refuse.
I like that. When we talk about black media, do you think that black media gives the proper representation of what's going on globally and nationally, or do you think this is watered down?
I think that black media needs to be respected, and it needs to be enhanced, because there are a lot of times when black media does not get the recognition of putting out stories or informing people as much as they do now. You have stations now, as a matter of fact, they're so good now. iHeartRadio has a division now, a Black Independent Network, where they are giving out black news. It's needed, it's wanted. And I remember the days of WVON when it was in the 60s. I was a baby then, but they informed people. They were the voice of the Negro, and that for a very good reason.
No, when you talk about WVON, after WVON, I want to ask you because you said you specifically you wanted to say something about Leon Finney.
Yeah.
But when I wanted to ask you about WVON, WVON is a black-owned radio station in the United States of America, Chicago, Illinois. I think there's some type of inconsistency or some type of problem at WVON because when you look at the Arbitron ratings give you a gauge of how many people listen to the radio station, okay, over a certain period of time. And you look at the Arbitron ratings, and they don't seem to be worried about it. Why does it seem to be that way that the management is not really worried about the Arbitron ratings and always appearing next to the bottom?
Sometimes it's not about the ratings. Sometimes it's the quality of your work. Does WVON need an influx of youth? Yes. Do they need a better stranglehold on the media in Chicago? Yes, I believe that. But with a lot of work, it can happen. Melody Span Cooper, who owns WVON Midway Broadcasting, has done a great job taking the reins of her father. And basically, VON is history, it's legacy. So everybody gives the VON a pass because it's legacy. But sometimes you got to go next level.
But I mean, I have to follow up with a question, and I do listen to WVON. But I'm saying is, you're saying that she's doing a great job, but historically, the Arbitron ratings are at the bottom. So I would like to ask you, how was she? Maybe explain it to me. I'm kind of confused. Because if you're doing a great job, you pop up towards number one where you are. You got a court, 1.5 million people listen to you every single day. So can you? And you might not want to step on no toes because y'all in the same field.
I will say this. There are some times when you can have an experienced staff, experienced shows, but then there's sometimes when you need an influx of youth-oriented shows and current happenings. VON, when they were a music radio station, they were #1 in Chicago forever. I think when they switched to the format of news talk, they sort of lost the youth, but they kept some of the people who remember VON and remember how they got what's going on in the city of Chicago and the world through VON. But youth is not looking at it. They don't want to hear about what's happening. They want to just hear who the latest person on the top 10 list or whatever.
Now, you know what? You said that you specifically wanted to say something about Leon Finney. Let me tell everybody this. You said specifically, you said if we don't talk about anything else, well, I want to have my say about Leon Finney. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I will say this.
Who was Leon Finney?
Reverend Dr. Leon Finney Jr., he was the head of Urban Broadcast Media in Chicago. And he basically took the ideal of a black media empire. That's what he wanted to build in Chicago. And he was pretty much on his way to do that. There were obstacles, but there was a lot of people who supported him, and it flourished. And in its heyday, UBM was where you got the news, where you listened to talents like Chris Bass or myself or Jamaica Funk and a whole lot of other shows. I pretty much what I have done with the D. Curtis Randle Show, I started doing it there. That's where I got my chops. That's where I got the
You're not saying he was a mentor. Are you saying that he was not?
He challenged me.
Okay, you brought out the best in you.
Yes, he challenged me. There were times when I wanted to kiss him. there were times I thought I could kill him. But he challenged me, and he made me a better person. He made me a better broadcaster. He made me a better person behind that mic. I saw the work that he did, how he did it, and I said, I definitely wanted to be like that.
You know, I always ask a man, like, you're a successful black man, okay? And I always ask a man about the woman, because usually a successful man is a successful and a strong woman. With him or walking by his side, how's your wife helped to make you the person that you are?
My wife, Kim, is the executive producer of the D. Curtis Randle Show.
Okay.
She helped me create the D. Curtis Randle Show. I was in Texas. She was in Chicago. We had conversations and we talked, and she knew I did radio. And I said, well, I'm gonna keep this up. And she's like, you know what? Maybe you ought to think about bringing that here. And along with your
Sound like she's your latest and greatest inspiration. Go ahead, brother.
Well, we've been married 7 years and we've known each other for 30. And her famous words to me back in the day when we were young: "Go away." Get out of here, go away. But I worked on her, and I grew in it. So there's no chance in heck we ever gonna be together. Oh, so you're saying we got a chance? Okay. And like I said, we got married in 2013. 7 years married as of last week.
And you're going to get that pizza, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way,
Go ahead and let her know.
order the pizza now. Order the pizza now. I'll get it after the show. Order pizza now.
This is a live show. If y'all want to call in and have a question for the guest. And we talk about your wife. What did your mother and father, and what type of morals and principles did your mother and father install into you to make you the great man that you are?
My mother and my father married for 59 years. No, 60. 60. 60 years. And I see how my father treated my mother every day. My father, to this day, still write little love notes and put it on the window or the mirror where she can look at it and get it. I have seen my father work 12, 14-hour days.
So it installed the principles in you.
And come back and still had time for me, my two brothers, my two sisters. And I never will forget the time when I was sick, because I was a sickly child. My health was not all that well. And there was one time that my father picked me up and carried me. We had no car. We lived on the west side. He carried me to the hospital. I remember that.
What's side? Go ahead.
I mean, shouts out to everybody over there. We used to live by the Sears store on Holman Avenue.
You used to live up?
Yes.
So my cousins used to live.
Yes.
Okay, but right behind it.
801 Independence Boulevard. I used to live there. And it was just something to see. The neighborhood, you could play over there at Sears YMCA. You could play baseball at Douglas Park. It was just great.
You know what? Again, tell people what time your show comes on so they can tune in.
Okay.
I want to get you more than that 1.5 million. I want to try to help do my little part. Go ahead.
my show was on Sundays, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on clubsteppin.com or
I hear feedback.
or Gospel Faith Radio. on the Future Visions Entertainment app.
Okay.
And you could also get me on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio. Like I said, we got Spotify, 10 podcast networks, and we're on 27 other cities throughout the country.
1.5 million people.
You know what? I really don't look at that. I really don't. I really don't see it. I basically do the show so that people who know me and love gospel, they tune in and listen. As long as my mama hears it, and as long as my wife hears it.
Man, I couldn't, man, you know what, on Blog Talk Radio, man, I couldn't build up an audience of 7.
Really?
No, I couldn't do it.
And there was one time that I almost thought about going on Blog Talk. I really did.
No, we running low. Is there a specific message that you would like to disseminate to the people? Because we got like 4 minutes left. Is there a specific message that you want to put out to the people that's looking at this live?
I tell people, I usually end my show every Sunday with a final thought. And I guess the final thought I'll lay onto you is, you know what? There are times when you're thinking about giving up. There are times when you're thinking about you can't do it. There are times that you think that you could want to be this person or that person. Just be yourself, because everybody else, they're taken. They got that. Be you.
He made me laugh. Do you know Cliff Kelly?
I do.
I once tried to imitate Cliff Kelly. Miss Jean Sparrow. You know Jean Sparrow?
I do
and
know
she
Jean.
told me, I was in class, and she said, you know, at Kennedy King, she said, Cliff, you can't be Cliff Kelly. There's only one Cliff Kelly, and you're not him. I said, yeah. You know Jean Sparrow.
I do know Jean, and she's had a great career in radio and now in television.
So, I don't know what the feedback. Do you happen to know her purpose span? Was anything you wanted to say about him?
You know what? I remember, like I said, listening to VON, the good guys. I wanted to be Herb Kent. I had to go to bed at like 8, 9 o'clock, but I had a transistor radio with a little earpiece, and I would listen to the Electric Crazy People and Richard McGee and the Scandal Report and all that stuff. And I said, that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Now, I got to give Royce Glamour and Mr. Donald a plug.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what? Royce Glamour, there has the Royce Glamour Talent Show.
Yes, and I
comes
produce
on every Thursday.
3 p.m. Central.
Okay, what radio station?
Also, clubstepping.com.
Okay, give you a plug. So you know what? You somebody that I reciprocate with. We have like a symbiotic relationship. I always found myself not doing well with people that don't want to be. Well, it's not a symbiotic relationship, and I found out it's a one-sided relationship. I have a tendency to be nice to them. I'm through with them, because you know what? Do you look at it like that? If you share your forum with somebody, they share with you.
Yes, because they shared it with me. Cedric Bailey. Mm-hmm. Cedric Bailey taught me how to do radio. The first interview he ever got me was Rance Allen.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was just me.
No. He taught me. He was like, man. And Rance Allen, God bless his memory and his soul. Rance Allen,
is that it?
After the show, he's like, you know what? How long you been doing this? Oh, about 10, 15 minutes. Get out of here. And they said, man, you going to be somebody. And I took that to heart.
Okay. Well, Grady, is that it? Well, brother, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
I know we're not supposed to be shaking hands during the virus. Assalamu alaikum. It's too late now.
Okay. And the pizza, I ordered a pizza now.
All right, brother. So that's it now. Oh, so you want to send a shout out to the church you go to?
Right now, as a matter of fact, I'm looking for a church home. My wife and I, we're actively looking to get a church of our own to fellowship with, especially with COVID. It's been a little difficult, but now with hopefully and God willing, everything works out. Yeah, we will be looking for a church.